This Daf Yerushalmi Shekalim, the article Oz edition where Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph, the line down Amar Rabbi Chizkiah, which is towards the end of Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph in the Vilna Yerushalmi, and in the Vilna Bavli Yerushalmi is on Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, counting up from the end of the Perek 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 lines from the end of the Perek. So I'm going to go talk to Chadatin here, which goes to the Groz Girsa, which the Reb Chaim also goes with. Amar Rabbi Chizkiah. So the Chadatin says, Mahat Lemivsha Kamaiso. Going back to resolve the first question which we asked earlier, which before we got into the Kamatzim issue, which was about the Lugim. With the serious if you're going to go, they brought 3 Lugim of Shemen. And the question is, he brought by the Kohen Gadol was alive, then he brought half in the morning, half in the evening, one and a half. And now the Kohen Gadol has died, and we switched to a new Kohen Gadol in the afternoon. So we do double. We do each mincha 3 lugin, or if we bring 1 mincha 3 lugin with it, if we bring 2 minchas 3 lugin with each one of them. Or do we continue to split? So the Gemara says, so says the Talmud Chadatin, Parshas Taf Parsha Dal Piska Hey V'chenim Menachos Din Alpha V'Av V'Shom Rosh V'Yochem Bergomer Solas Mincha Tamid by the Asiris Eifa. It says Solas Mincha Tamid, and we learn that out from Harei Minchas Tamidim. We learn it from Tamidim. Mat Tamidim Shlosh Lugin, just like Tamidim Shlosh Lugin. So too, the Asiris Eifa going to go also has 3 lugin of oil. So what I quote the pasuk for you. This pasuk is by the Asiris Eifa, is Vayikra Vav Yugimel Zeh Korban Aron V'Ram B'Sheklu B'Shem Yom B'Shechoso Asiris Eifa Soles Mincha Tamid Machtzitza Boker Machtzitza B'Erev. You say so. It says that it's a Mincha Tamid, right? So so that from now we learn it's like the Minchas Tamidim, because it doesn't say in those psukim. The next pasuk, Machvas Shemen Tesem Ukevas Tivien Tuvnei Michas Ptin Takirech Tinchol Hashem V'Kohen Mashiach Tachtov V'Yirabi Yasel So Chol Kol Hashem Kol Taktor V'Chol Michas Kohen Kolil Tiel Lo Sechel. Doesn't say anything about how much oil to bring with it, right? Doesn't say anything about oil really at all, except the oil that you're frying it in. So the said learns without from Michas Minim. The Matmin Shlosh Lugin also here it's 3 lugin, and evidently so the whatever you bring us here, it's not clear from that. This is the conclusion. One of the assumption is whatever you bring us here, Eifa, it has to be 3 lugin. So you bring full Asiris Eifa. Each Kohen, the one in the morning and the one in the afternoon, right? So then you, if the Kohen's not alive and they appoint somebody else, so perhaps only bring 1 in the morning, like I alluded to before. But whenever you bring the Asiris Eifa, you have to bring 3 lugin. So since if you start with 1 Kohen in the morning, another Kohen in the afternoon, you have to bring a Asiris Eifa in the morning, Asiris Eifa in the afternoon, you have to bring full 3 lugin together with each one. Okay, now I said I'm going to learn like the Gra, because the Gra takes out the next line, and Reb Chaim does too. So, Umatam and Sirchale Afkan Sirchale. There's the Talmud Khan says, Girsas for a person, Nishtab Shumoid. They took just like we said yesterday. The Matam and Sirchale Afkan Sirchale was taken out above, so it was to be taken out over here. Even though in the Vilna, the first one is in parentheses, this one is not. Be honest and above board about it. And the article goes with the with the skirsa, but like I said, Reb Chaim changes it. So and based on the Gra and Talmud Chadatin, so we will change it over here as well and say Shtab Shamoid and it's be taken out. Okay, we go on. So the Mishnah said there's no Mila Ba'efa Purim. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Shmuel Barnach Masher Yonatan said, B'nei Yeshua Mala Bar. There should be Mila Ba'efa Purim. They made a gzera that there shouldn't be a mila b'efa para. The Chachomim made it to Tnai Bastin, right? That's it says here. The Farshim say, it says Tnai Bastin who should only pay for. They made a Bastin simply no, it'll take away the Milah. So it says, wait a minute. That sounds like Midoraisa, there is Milah. Midrabanan, they came along and says there is Milah. Is that true? For a time, even in the Bryce of Chatos, it says that by the Paraduma, the pasuk is Vasaf Ishtoras Efa Parah, he gathers it, leaves it outside the tent camp, Malcolm to our base. Vasah, that's Bnei Yisrael Mishmeres, should be for Bnei Yisrael for safeguarding, Lemeini Da, for the purifying waters, Chatos he. And we said we have a drasha that Chatos, which it says here, which is referring to the Paraduma, as Korban says, the part of time Chatos he the part of the Shemoni ba Kishar Chatos actually Solem Shaset to the Kohanim. There's Me'ilah when it's still until the Shaset to the Kohanim, but that is the which doesn't really happen, right? It's not Mutar Kohanim, but the equivalent to that in the in the Paraduma is the Ba Malin Ve'Malin Beifara. There's only Me'ilah in it, right? We don't have that in it there's Me'ilah and not in its Efer. Only when it's a Chatos. In other words, when it's before it becomes ashes. Once it becomes ashes, is there's no Milah anymore. So it sounds like the Raisa. There's no Milah. Not tonight based in. So it says Gemara, you know what? You're right. The Raisa there was no Milah, but there was a problem. That's a hard word to pronounce. And the Talmud Chadadim changes it to be Mikashmishkin. So it makes the Chaim changed it, but probably leaves it the same. Yeah, he doesn't change it. Mishtak Shekin. So and actually translates differently than the Talmud Chadadim. The Talmud Chadadim translates Mikashkashin. He changed gears and says translates Mikashkashin Lashon Zilusa. They made a mockery of it, like Kishkush, right? The Kishkush Lashon Ziluso. Nosa saw Gabi Makos saying they put on their Makos. Chaim says that the Mishtakshikin, it means that they would dip their hands in it. That's Meshachshech. I think it is Meshachshechin is to rub, scrub. This is scrub your hands with it. So that was that's when the Girsa as is in front of us. The article translates Mishtakshekin as Mezalzlin, like Chachim without, but doesn't change the Girsa. And he brings down other pshatim here. First, he brings down the pshat which Reb Chaim gives, which emanates from the Pnei Moshe. I didn't see the Pnei Moshe. He says, yeah, okay, so Pnei Moshe Taka says that. And then he brings down a different shot. It's from the Rash Tzibulio, that shake is a lotion of Paskin Nachum, Beisei Ishtak Shekun Birchovos, which means to make loud noises, and they were fighting about it. Okay, so they wanted to put it because they wanted to put it on their makos. They used it in order to heal themselves as a form of antiseptic, I guess, when they got a wound. They used it as a form of soap, form of antiseptic. They were using it for their own personal purposes. So, but as when it says, so he knows the other guy might go saying, but Gaza Shimeluba. So they guys say, okay, we're going to put Milah in place here. Once they were graded themselves, meaning that they separate themselves. But it's not just they separate themselves. They separate themselves in a way which impinged on halacha. As Korban says, came parshu, they made a getter for themselves. A parshu misafik hazos. they did it. They decided, okay, in the case of Suffolk Tumah, we're not going to be mazid the Ephah Porah. If somebody's deep memory Suffolk Tumas Mace Loy Mazila Shaloi Maluba, because maybe it'll come out then when they're dipping their hands into the Paraduma water with the ashes, and now they're rinsing their hands with those ashes, and if it's like a soap or like a antiseptic, and they're they're being moil. So therefore, it caused a halachic problem. So therefore, they say, we have to revert back to the original case, the original status. So the it says here, but came the gazu shaloyim alaba. They made example that okay, we're going to revert and not going to be meal anymore. Okay, the next Gemara, the first line the Korban takes out, but then straight down you're doing that the Korban the Igra adds a line. It says Tamat Taninon. Mexa Ipulu goes the We said before, if it and it could be it's not. Corey says superfluous here because we already discussed this. It's true, but still we have the Yerushalmi, so it repeats itself. So there's that woman who who had her money in the Kenan pushka, and now because it fell outside, it went to the Gozleola pushka. Now it's how'd she get her chatos, right? So in that case. So again, Tamadina Mechza fell halfway between the king and Gozeola, Yiplu Gozeola. But then Aisha says, "My miskaber." So I mean, it's based on Musapik Sakinim, the person who supplies Kinim. Musapik is a psulos for ovdos. He has to be Musapik the psulos and ovdos. In other words, if there's a psul, like in our Mishnah, we talked about a psul, and in the previous paragraph we talked about ovdos. Whenever there's an issue of a psul or a possible psul, or possible lost a ken pasul or ken oved, so then the person who supplied the kingdom had to supply the kingdom for this person as well in order to make sure that the additional amount of kingdom corresponding to the lost money in order to make up for the woman who needed to have a chatas, and of course it would be a brother's chatas above suffix and would not be eaten by the kohanim. Okay, Hajlach Moshe Nimtzu to Barak Korokin, all the saliva. Hanimtzes Yerushalayim, which is found in Yerushalayim, Toherin. It says the car made of low marskin lubaroko shel zav zav. We don't assume that it's saliva from a zav or zava shemetanim omin of a kem, which from a time person or the vessels mishum nazim saru because go after the rope. So kol rokin inside Yerushalayim Torah chutz mishel shel shuka elyon, except from the upper marketplace. There are many people whose saliva was time there, and the Gemara is going to explain why it's different. Rabbi Yosef Meir b'shar kol yemos hashana in the rest of the year. Sheba emtza tmeim, the roke in the middle of the road. You found a roke in the road is tamei. Sheba tzayim, the roke you found in the side of the road is Torah. B'shas regular during Yontiv was the opposite. Sheba emtza Torah, the ones in the middle. The slide found in the middle it was Torah. Sheba tzayim the main the one for the slide we find in the side of the road is tamei. In the roads in Yerushalayim, the people of the minority went to the sides. People in the majority went to the middle. So the rest of the year, when people are not makbid on Tuma and Tara, so therefore we assume that the people in the middle of the road were tamei, and therefore we assume the roke might be from a tamei person. Torah, you have to be careful. They still were on the side, so therefore the roke on the side be from a Torah person. On Shasa Rego, so the vast majority of Amisra was Torah to go up and be the Rego, go to the Beis Hamikdash. So the majority, so therefore the people who were walking in the middle, striding in the middle of the road, were the Toherim. Therefore, rope found in the middle was Tor, and then studying on the sides, those are the people who are Tamei. So therefore, the rope on the side was considered Tamei. Okay. It's interesting. There's a rare historical note here in the article, so it's worth sharing. He talks about the Shuka Elyon. Okay, where's the Shuka Elyon? So note 4, he says here in Josephus, mentions the Shuka Elyon as a description of the upper hill. The western hill, which is one of the two hills upon which the ancient city of Yerushalayim was built, and it is the place where you find Mitzudas David, the Tower of David in our day and age. Okay, so that was the Shuka Elyon. Actually, when you go to the shul, to go to the Kaisel in Yerushalayim, if you come into the old city by Shar Yafo, you go down in the shuk till you get to the to the Kaisel. So then you come back from the Kaisel, go up. So the Shuk Elyon was that plaza, I guess, which now is in front of Migdal David in the old city of Yerushalayim. Okay, but the next part of Mishnah, the Kol Kelim and Yimtzayim Yerushalayim, anything Kelim which find Yerushalayim, Derech Yerida Beis Tefillah, it's on the way down to the mikveh, Tameim, they're Tomei. So Karmenes says that there are two drachim for the mikveh, one you go down and one you come up. And so the people who are Tomei should not come into contact with the Torah. So if it's going down, if you find Kelim down the way down the mikveh, it's definitely Tomei, because it fell from the hands, people are bringing them to the mikveh. Okay, so Kol Kelim and Yimtzayim Yerushalayim, Derech Yerida Beis Tefillah, Tameim, Derech Aliyah Torah. And you find a way up, their Torah. Shelo kiridasan aliyasan. The way they would go down is not the same way they would come up. Okay, the way they went down was Tomei, the way they came up was Torah. Tivirai Meir, it's going to Meir. Rabbi Yosef kulon Tahirim. The all Tahirim. He says Karmeir lo gazu al safek kelim Yerushalayim. If you have a safek in kelim Yerushalayim, we don't assume that they didn't make exer to assume it's Tomei. Chutz min asav ha'magrefa micholim l'kros. Sorry, asav. The asav ha'magrefa. There's also in the Girsa in the Mishnayos Hamaritza. The Pnei Moshe says that it is left out of the Mishnah because it seems to the Gemara that it was the Gemara's introduction into the Mishnah, not the Mishnah itself. Anyway, so let's read the Pnei Moshe on that. With which you would collect the bones of the dead, and you gather them into the basket. So that's the sal and the magrefa, the implement with which you gather them. In the Mishnah itself, it says Meritza v'nir shechosakam b'tfus. The Gemara Maisla that's missing here from the printed edition because the Gemara brings it. It's the case in which you would crush and pulverize the bones. When you want to put them into the basket, when you brought them from place to place. Okay, so he says all the Kelim Yerushalayim, says Rabbi Yosef Cheskas Tara, assumption of Tara, except for the Kelim which were designated obviously for the purpose of dealing with dead bodies. The Miri explains, according to Rabbi Yossi, even a kli which is found down in the Derech Yerida Beis Tefillah, it's not proof that it's Tomei, because it's possible that the owner went there to be makbil another keli and brought this keli along with him. So therefore, it could be that this one was tar. Okay, it's next one, Mishnah. So if you find a knife in Yerushalayim on the 14th day of Nisan, you assume that it is a Torah knife. Shochem b'miyad. You can check the Korban Pesach immediately with it. Go check. B'shlosha, so you find the 13th day. Shana matbil. You should take it and tov it again. Says the Korban Pesach. The equal and meimak fight below bailim. It's likely the owner Ray Tova. Tova said Bila Shanis. Yes, Tova again. The Shema Lloyd Bila, he blew a Bailam. The Bailam did not Tova. Tava show something at Tova Chashem because could have waited. They had time to wait till nightfall. Babi Shlo goes to a Suffolk Kalim, even though normally we just say you're not going to Suffolk Kalim. Here, Gabi Kachim for the purpose of using for Kachim, they were more machmir. They made a mile. They had to Tova it again. Okay, so it's just a Shoina Matbil. Kupitz, which is a cleaver, which you use to cut meat. Bezel shoina matbil. So on you gimel on you dalit, you travel again, and Kormei explains a little bit of a long explanation here. You give me a dalit shoina matbil, even on the dalit. If you should call it chagiga, it really comes from chagiga because. That's a mutabar. You don't have to break a bone in the korban chagiga, not in the korban pesach. But I go to according to May Mason Misafik. So it's saying that the case with the Kohanim themselves are doing Mason Misafik. And then the 7th day came on Erev Pesach. They imo chagiga, so you can't bring a chagiga. The avle pesach above tumah because I pesach which comes at time of tumah. Chagiga is chamishlos, so the chagiga they're not going to do an Erev Pesach. They'll have to do the first one on the 15th. Yasu Batara. That one they'll do Batara. Then the Kohanim change Tefillah Matamim Asakim. So they should, the Kohanim or Tefillah Yom are not going to be Matamim the knives. Change Tefillah Afilim Mesa Tamei Kelim. The Tefillah Yom, even it was a Tefillah Yom after the Tumas Mason, not Matamei Kelim. So therefore, again, because it's Mila of Kachim, I assume, therefore you, or perhaps specifically because they were actually Tamei Mace till now. Yeah, the Tamei Mace was Suffolk. So it's not necessarily the same Mila of Kachim. So so there's so B'zeh Shani Matpi. You give me a dollar, you toivel it over again. Chalabosa Lios Shabbos. So if the 14th day comes on Shabbos, so then Shechba Miyad. So then you can use the knife to shecht it immediately, because we assume it was Tova on the 13th. We're talking about going back to the Shechita knife. So since the 14th day came on Shabbos, we're not supposed to Tova came on Shabbos. So therefore he was, assuming he found the 13th, he already Toveled it. Reb Chaim points out that it's true even about Kupitz, because Kupitz can be used to shecht. And therefore, since you must have been, you Toveled also the Kupitz yesterday. So it's usually used to bake bones, but theoretically you could use it to shecht as well. So again, Mr. They were told the day before. Needs it's kashur l'sakin. So if you find the kupitz, the cleaver, tied to a knife, even if you find that which didn't come out on Shabbos, you can use kupitz immediately, because we say if it was told together with the knife. I like to point out Reb Chaim seems to take out the entire variable of where it said about the Kohen being Tamei Mason Suffolk. I'm not sure he takes that. He just assumes that he does mention something about it. Okay, but in any event, you can learn the Mishnah without putting that variable directly. I wonder if there are other people who actually take it out. Yeah, the Chadi really doesn't include it. You can read it without it. It works out without it, right? It says because you only even Chagiga, not to go in Pesach, so therefore people weren't necessarily being makbid to tovel early. So therefore the kupitz, unless it was to together with the second, so even though you dalid, you'd be showing a tovel. Okay, so along those lines, since you didn't, Chagig was not mandatory, so therefore I could just say he didn't get around to toveling it. Okay, could be some of those lines. Be there as a mate. We'll finish the Mishnah, and that's it for today, because we're already in the Chesed